So I've parsed out a lot of chunks to fill out the circle as best as I can, really roughly. At this point, I'll actually just use this side, and I'll make sure my fingers are on the edges here, so that when I go down, I don't actually touch the sand yet, so I can just roll forward. That way it gives me a little more leverage as far as how deep I want it to actually go into the sand. So I'll start to mash it down a little bit so I can have a more flatter surface. More flatter. You just want to close up some of these holes here and make sure you have a pretty similar, I guess, depth. Yeah, a consistent depth all over the sample. Once you feel like you have that, which this isn't quite it, but we'll just move on from here, you can actually start to close up the circles by very, very lightly using the tip here and just brushing the side right here, very lightly. And again, this will probably be something you learn when you actually do it, but I think it's also good to see. Now, you don't have to worry too much about filling up the circle right now, because we're also going to take our Milestone aliquots out of here. So we're going to cut out 1 gram sections, and then we're going to save it to run in the Milestone, which we used earlier to gauge the concentration of the solution. So just to kind of make sure that it's an even depth. The depth is really what we're going for right now. You don't have to worry about the outside circles. As you can see, this is not the best circle. At this point, we like to cut out maybe about 1 inch by a 1/2 inch section. And then we'll try to scoop this up. You can lift the plate here to get a little leverage. You just want to make sure that the sand is still wet. And don't worry if little chunks fall back like that, that's okay. You can put it in the weighing boat here to save for later, for measuring. And then choose a different spot. You want to get a good representation of the concentration in the entire sample. So you want to, I'm just going to flatten this out, get a better bit here. You want to make sure you take your samples from different spots inside the actual sample circle, so that you make sure that you can get a good reading on the actual concentration of the whole sample. So as you can see, I'm taking one from 3 different spots here. And then from here you can actually just close it up. You can actually gauge where you have more sand, so try to close it up from those spots so you can even out the depth a little more as well. And from here you're going to start thinking about how to fill out the circle. So you can actually go ahead and use the edge again, right here, fingers on the side, and just start pushing it outward from the center. Typically the center will have the most sand. That's just because of the way we put it on the actual Teflon sheet. And you want to push it out a little further beyond the circle. It'll give you a little leeway when you sweep it back in. And you'll be able to control it a little better. Again, don't worry if you get these huge cracks, it's okay. It's kind of like an orange peel, right? When you spread it out, it's going to develop cracks. But we'll cover those up in due time. Again, so you see those pits that came up? That's not the best. That's usually an indication that you're pushing too hard. So I can just dampen down a little bit. Okay, so you want to flick the stick sometimes a little bit to make sure the sand goes back down in the sample. Now at this point you use the flat part here, and you can actually just close it up. Really gently close it up, and then try not to, when you're closing this, try not to just bring it to try not to bring it just to the side here, because you'll have issues with bunching on the edge, so drag it all the way across. Just follow through. And you'll be able to see the line as they're sweeping the sand back. As you can see there. Shut it off.